less is more. I didn't say much on the track, but it has substance.
It's
Okay.
so good. And we showed it to you.
That's very Kid Cudi. You know what I mean? To not say too much, but within that you say a lot.
That's what I've been trying to be like that. Like,
That's a
It's
hard
more like
harnessing.
poetic shit. Like,
100%. Absolutely. And I feel like the study of poetry will help you out a lot with that. You
That's
know what I
how I
mean?
started
Learning
writing
the
poetry.
structure.
Because you get certain ideas and concepts out and things like that. Like I'll be so
100%.
restricted to just like writing a song, and then it's like, no, if you go just write freely,
Mhm.
write a poetry, write a poem, or do this or whatever, then you can kind of like get concepts down. You're like, oh shit, I like that word. I would have never thought to do that or
Right.
something like that.
That's how I started really like learning how to write music. Like, cause I was always
Right.
into music, and I kind of just freestyled. I mean, I wrote my first verse when I was like 9, but I never really was consistent with like writing and shit. Like, it was more like just freestyles and shit. Like,
Right.
And then like I had a girlfriend in high school, and I started writing poetry for her. So it was like that's where it started. It was
I've
like,
always-
and then I was like, oh, I could just put this in music.
Yeah,
and just rap
exactly.
This shit, basically. So
I've always had that as a piece of my hip hop. I started as a metalhead growing up, so my transition into hip hop was because of the love of how poetry influenced this genre of music. And I was always free form poetry, you know. I'll admit I haven't really delved into the study of poetry to the degree that I would like. But to the level that I have, I will say any artist that hasn't, it's like sniffing coffee beans after having a bunch of colognes and perfumes in your nose. Because you hear and you take in a lot of different styles as an artist if you're naturally within the industry, or if you're fucking good that you can keep that shit out and just focus on you, that's dope. But I know for myself, I like listening to hip hop, I like the genre that I'm in, I hear a lot of artists. So because of that and because of the little skills and experiences that I have, I can find myself writing in a box. I can find myself writing in a place where it's not, I mean, it's organic, but it's a comfort zone. You know what I mean? And maybe the 2-3 songs can start sounding the same. A good way to sniff those motherfucking coffee beans and to kind of like erase the palette of your hip hop ear is understanding poetry, because it kind of breaks the walls and boundaries of what you feel like you can do within that cadence, because it's all about what you can do in that cadence. And I feel like once so that's fun, man.
I love
Like
that analogy.
yeah,
That coffee bean analogy.
yeah.
Because I would go to essential oil stores and shit, and I'd go, what are the coffee beans? Like, oh, you smell them in between, like, doing all that shit. It helps reset.
It refreshes it
I was like,
100%.
Like, yeah, and we sell them.
It's
in
a
case.
common practice used in all forms of creation, man. Even in writing, what they say is when you're in a flow state and you're going down on like a paper and you're getting down on it and you reach a writer's block, it's very important that early on in that writer's block you say, fuck this paper, and you go do something else.
Exactly.
And you go and put your mind on something else that is stimulating but in a completely different fashion. Like maybe it's a physical activity that you can kind of zone in on and do something like that. And then once you go back to it after a certain period of time, that refreshment of your mind will allow you to tap into something that wasn't there before. You know what I mean? So like it's very important to understand consciously how the mind processes, because sometimes it's not just wham bam, thank you ma'am, I have exactly what I want for this product. There's different levels and different strategies that you can implement consciously to best put yourself there. You know what I mean?
yeah. Like recently, I've been writing in the booth too. Like just experimenting with the different styles of writing instead of like
That's something I
sitting
wanna
down,
do more.
because I figured like sometimes I do get writer's block, and like if you go in there and you're just like basically kind of just like freestyling shit, but just like
Right.
or just I'll just sit in there, think of concepts, think of melodies, and go put it in, and then build off like 1 or 2 bars, and then maybe come back in here once I get that spark and know where I'm going,
Right.
and then sit down and write. But I find it I found it sometimes hard to continue just listening to the beat, loop the beat, writing my phone. You know, it just gets boring sometimes. And
I'm
like,
very
it feels
spur
like
of the
too
moment.
much of a job, too much of a chore sometimes if I'm like
100%.
doing it that way. When I'm in there, it's just like fun. Like, and then like another thing is just like not trying to put a time restriction on myself either. Like
Yes.
just let it come.
There's
Like, I
always
don't
time.
care if it takes 2, 3, 4 hours to get 4 bars, as long as it's like dope shit, like, and it's what I want to say on record, then it was worth the time. Instead of like, oh shit, everybody else like in here, oh, he already got his verse done, or it's not a competition.
Absolutely. That added layer of pressure can alter your delivery to where it's not exactly what you want it to be, man. Like 100%. Tony Robbins says one of the best things that you can control and one of the most important things that you can control at all times is your state. You know, and like I think we've mentioned this on the pod before. That's why certain artists have certain regimens that they want to go into. You know what I mean? And they're conscious of these things that put them in this zone that allow them to give their best product, whether that's a performance or recording or anything of that nature. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like for me, I know with the writing process, I'm very spur of the moment, and I love scenery. You know, so like I'll be sitting watching something and a line will hit me and I'm like, sorry about it. Like I'm gonna go and expand on that line, and that could be a verse, that could be 2 bars, and I'll know, you know what I mean? Like it'll be like okay, I ain't feeling it, but that's a line, you know what I mean? And I'll just like write it down or throw it in my voice memos. I've started doing voice memos a lot.
Yeah, I've been doing that too.
Voice memos help me memorize the verse, you know what I mean? They help me memorize the verse.
Sometimes, like when I was like more of a, when I do, I still do it sometimes, like sit down and write, like, and maybe I'll step away to try to, you know, reset my mind, maybe come back with some bars, maybe I'm stuck, and then I'll come back to it and I'll forget the melody or how I said something, or I won't have that exact type of flow while I was writing that first part. So it's like, damn. So
I
voice
hate
memos
that
help. So I've been like, I know if I'm gonna walk away from it, I have to like put on the beat and just rap it like I already got it. That way, when I come back to it, okay, that's where I'm going, and like then it will.
100%, man. I have lost fucking gems. You know what I mean?
Yep.
I feel like every artist understands what I'm talking about. You'll be in the spur of the moment of doing something. An interaction will take place, which will spur a thought connection, and you'll have a brain baby of a fire-ass line or a fire-ass concept, and it'll sit there with the momentum of your brain, like just weight heavy on your brain. But the moment little activities start pulling your attention, it starts fading further and further in the back of your mind, and then you'll have almost like a spur, like to try and pull it back, and it won't fucking be the same. You can't catch the hook. I thought I was safe by writing down the lyrics and was like, okay, I can just write the lyrics down. Nada, bro, because you don't understand the sauce of those words. That's just words on a page. So it's just like, it's a completely different experience. The voice memos help capture the sauce of that moment, so you can emulate that sauce and keep it going. Spread the sauce down. You know what I mean? Like,
voice memos or actually writing in the booth. Because if you have a recorder, just make sure you save the tape. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Or while you're writing it in there, you get it as good as you want, and then you can stop right there. You already got it recorded, and right from there, pick it up right there. But we've been talking about my new year enough. That was tangent. But how was your new year? What'd you do?
Hey, but it was a great tangent because I feel like that was helpful to any artist coming up. If you don't use voice memos, do that. I feel like we already kind of dropped a couple gems for some artists this morning.
Experiment with your writing styles.
100%. Study poetry a little bit. Get more conscious of your structure. No matter what style you do. Even if you a mumble rapper, bro, if you understand poetry and implement some basic shit into that, still stick 100% to your content, your delivery, your swag, all of that. But I'm just saying it might make it a little bit easier to produce the next track.